This is the story about how becoming a mom changes you as a woman.
When I look into my child's face, their first laugh, their embrace, I forget myself and I'm floating in space.
Are they going to college already? Where did the time go? Just as your child ventures out in the world, it may be time for some venturing out for you as well. Are there things you are planning on doing for yourself one day? Well, that day is here.
Having 2 children, the first one is the unknown, so you just cry.
The house was so quiet.
I thought, oh my goodness, we were driving him down to school, and I thought, this is the end of my life.
Today we're talking to Shelly Naphtal, psychologist and mother, as we discuss the question, what do you do when your kids leave the nest?
So Shelly, I have to tell you, the other day my husband and I were getting dressed in the morning, and I came to this very strange realization that we are going to be in our early 50s when our kids go to college, and him and I are going to have like 30 years together. You know, and I was
that
a
good thing?
No, I was a little scared. I'm a little scared. You know, 30
that's
years.
a good thing.
I mean, we certainly didn't have that before we had kids.
It is going to be very, very different, but it's also an opportunity to be really fabulous. I wake up very early in the morning because I sort of have my morning ritual that I like to have. I wake up, I meditate, I make my coffee, read the newspaper. And now if I have extra time, sometimes I even throw in a dance class or I meet my husband.
Ooh, what kind of dancing?
Right now I'm very involved in like Latin dancing. I love taking salsa. I've even taken some ballroom dancing classes. It's way fun. I'm total fun.
Everything that my husband and I do is really based on stuff with our children because they're so needy at this age.
Yeah.
Does that kind of taper off? And so it's just not like all of a sudden my husband and I are left alone in the house together and now we have to reconnect?
Even when you have little children, it's really important to never disconnect from your spouse. You can't put your relationship on hold for 18 years and then expect that, okay, what are we going to do this morning?
I think a lot of us do,
and
though.
that's a mistake. When I first was married, I first got married and I was in graduate school at the time, actually, for a very short period of time in psychology. But I was newly married and in love and doing all kinds of things and wanting to start a family, and I just never completed that. And I just went on with my life and ended up with 3 children. I always wanted to be a psychologist. For many years, I volunteered. I worked as a grief counselor for children whose parents died. I did parent
Volunteering
groups.
is great.
Well, it was a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to do what my passion was, and I was allowed to do it that way. Well, it fit into my life, and it was wonderful.
Plus, I think it's also a little less intimidating. You know, you can go, you can volunteer,
Exactly.
you can try things out.
And when my kids started to get a little bit older, I kind of gave myself the kick that I needed, and I applied to graduate school.
How old were you when you applied to graduate school?
49.
That's amazing. When I went away to college, my mom was always a stay-at-home mom, and when I went away to college, she was so sad. I remember her calling me one day, and I was doing my own thing. I was a freshman. And she said, you know, you never call me anymore. I can't get a hold of you. And I said, well, Mom, I'm at college. I'm having a great time. I'm fine. She said, how would you like it if somebody told you your job was over? Aww. And it was so, I felt just I got it in that minute.
More than the going back to school is what it represented for me, which was leaving my nest a little bit myself. I was very, very comfortable in my life.
Right.
So it took a lot of self-reflection and self-honesty for me to realize that I wasn't living to my fullest. And I needed to get out of that safe zone. And I think for a lot of moms that is an issue.
Once you come into an environment where nobody knows who you are, how was that for you?
Really fun. Because in some areas of your life, you know, I'm Wayne's wife and Chase and Michael and Jordan's mom forever.
Right.
So I walked into a place where there were 285 people in a classroom and nobody knew me. And so you really just get to expand without limitations, because we limit ourselves a little bit. You know, when you're a mom, you have to play certain roles sometimes. You can't
Absolutely.
always,
and a wife too.
You can't go to a dance class and go to a party and dance crazy in front of your kids. You'll humiliate them. So I took the word but out of my vocabulary, because for years it's always like, I would really like to do that, but I can't. I have carpal. You can be a really great mom, and you could love to exercise and love to hang out with your friends and like to buy shoes, and all of it is okay.
I want to be that person.
Me too.
Well, then you are.
Me too. Being a mom never ends, but there does come a time when you have more time for yourself. So jump outside of your comfort zone and do something you've always wanted to do. Your children don't need to be the only ones embarking on a new adventure. And remember, we're all in this together. We want to know what's going on in your mom life.
So come visit our community at jenandbarb.com.
This episode is brought to you by Maxwell House. Good just got great.
What is going to happen next? What's going to happen to my relationship with my husband? And I worried about it. By the time we got halfway back home after we dropped him off, I sighed and I thought, free at last.